Hey everybody, and welcome to Q&A Wednesday, where I answer the questions that you have about your health and fitness goals. Now, yeah, I'm still working on the backdrop. We're just things are in transition right now. But I have a great topic today because, one of the things, and I've talked about this before, but I forget that sometimes new people come to the channel and we have to talk about things that make sense when it comes to the biology of our health. So we're going to talk today about whether macros or calories matter more, and really, what I'm going to say, they both matter, but we're going to talk about why and what you should be paying attention to, because I find it fascinating that we all still learn the old nutrition information, which is, or the doctor says, eat less, move more. And I'm like, that's not really how it's really simplified, and it doesn't give enough information, and it doesn't help you to make those decisions when it comes to what's true and what really makes sense when it comes to your health and your goals. So let's talk a little bit about why both matter. So let's talk about calories to start with, because of course we've all heard you should eat less calories than you burn, which to an extent is true, but there's so many more variables than that, so it doesn't make sense to only talk about that. But it is true. If we eat more than we burn, we're going to actually store those excess energies as fat in our adipose tissue. Now, that is not to be misunderstood that eating dietary fat causes you to get fat, because that is not necessarily true. There's some things that have to happen there, and it's a total misconception. In the 90s, they came out with this whole fat makes you fat, and it's so untrue. You actually need healthy fats. So part of that is knowing what makes sense. So yes, to an extent, if you eat more calories than you burn, you are going to store, the excess calories as adipose tissue. But there is more to it, and we're going to talk a little bit about those quality of calories as well. So let's jump to the other side and talk about the macros. Now, for those of you that are just wondering what macros mean, it means macronutrients. If you've been around the industry at all, you probably already know what that means. It's proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. And they're different macronutrients, but they each do something different biologically in your system. So you really can't talk about whether or not you're going to hit your goals unless you talk about the macronutrients and which ones, what the percentages are that work best for you. Now, there's no one right way there, because everybody's different. Everybody has different genetics. Different ages. I just hit 47. So, there's too much to just say. There's no cookie cutter anything that works. You have to make sure that you understand how your body works and pay attention. Now, talking about macros, we also have to talk about quality, because quality is just as important, because of course carbohydrates, most people think, oh, I just shouldn't eat carbohydrates, which again isn't necessarily true. Just don't eat crap. Don't eat crap carbohydrates, because of course then your body will tend to spike insulin and store them as fat. So, it really comes down to be smart about it. There's no shortcut, there's no pill, there's no nothing like that works there. So as to whether or not calories or macros matter more, they're both important, and here's why. Let me give you an example, both directions, and why it can go wrong, very wrong in either of those. So let's talk about somebody who says, well, I'm going to eat a lot less calories because I want to burn this excess fat. So if I eat, let's just say 500 calories a day less, because in theory, 3,500 calories equals 1 pound of fat. Again, too many variables to actually say that straight forth and end it there. But let's just say I'm going to eat 500 calories less a day, but I'm eating predominantly processed food. So let's really quickly talk about when a calorie is not really a calorie. I know that doesn't sound right? But 400 calories of sweet potato and 400 calories of cheesecake are not the same. Just like 400 calories of Pop-Tart and 400 calories of steak are not the same. So you can't just sit down and say, well, even within the own macro, like let's just say carbohydrates, again, back to sweet potatoes, are not the same calories as a Pop-Tart, because one is extremely processed, so your body's going to burn through it faster and store more of it, right? Than a sweet potato, where it has fiber and nutrients, and your body has to work really hard to break it down, and it's going to be okay, sorry, technical difficulties, gotta love it. It's going to be a long-lasting effect of how that carbohydrate releases in order for you to have energy. So, if you eat less calories but you're eating processed food, you're still going to end up being unhappy with your results. Now, let's talk about eating healthy food but eating way too much of it. That can also be a problem. I've myself and people I know have had issues with eating too many almonds or too many nuts, which are higher in calories. They're more calorie dense because they actually contain fat, and fat has 9 calories per gram versus proteins and carbs, which are 4 calories per gram. So again, you can eat the right things, but if you're eating way too much of it, you're still going to struggle to reach your goals. Now, when you're eating clean whole food, that's going to be tougher, because there are things within that food that actually trips those triggers for your body to say, dude, I'm just full, right? It's a big struggle to continue to eat steak until you are going to put on a ton of weight, because steak is very heavy, beef is very heavy, and your body's going to have that mechanism where it says, look, I'm full. That leptin's going to hit, your body you're going to not be able to eat anymore. So again, there's a few more safeties there when it comes to eating the clean whole food, but you can still overdo it. So keep that in mind, that can be a problem there. So you really do have to pay attention to both. It really, learn about how food really works. If you look at the stores, the shelves in the store and the healthy food section, don't just pay attention to what the front of the box says, because they're using a lot of gimmicks and advertising to make you think that it's a healthy product. But if you actually look at the ingredient list on the back, it can even say sugar-free. And then the first 3 things you find on the back of the ingredient list are forms of sugar, right? They're following some sort of a loophole that they're allowed to use in the industry. So you really have to understand what they're doing, what makes sense. And really, if you stick to whole unprocessed food, right? I always tell people, if you can't kill it or grow it, you probably shouldn't be eating it. When you buy the food, it should be one ingredient, and then you combine it with other one ingredient foods to make a recipe, right? We're missing cooking in this day and age. That's why we're struggling with it. But again, eat as clean and whole food as you possibly can, because then you're really, it's going to be tough to overeat. It's going to be tough to, you're really going to have a better experience. You're going to have a lot more success when it comes to reaching your goals. So hopefully that was healthy. You can go, I love if you guys have questions, please ask, whether it's during the live or whether it's afterwards. You can leave a comment below. You can also message me directly at Facebook Messenger. And if you have a great idea, topic, or question, I love it. Please let me know, because that's how I get my very best ideas. I get them from you. Now, all of these get uploaded to my YouTube channel under Fillmore Fitness. So if you would like to go back and watch every Facebook Live I've ever done, both Q&A Wednesday and Meals with Melissa, and there will be one this Sunday, you can go back and watch them all. Just don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because everything helps on that. So have an incredible week, you guys. Come on, it's just February. You can't be quitting your New Year's resolutions now. You got to keep going, because again, it's consistency. It's a lifestyle. It's not 12 weeks and you're done. It's putting the little bit of effort and into each thing and finding that groove and that lifestyle that will help you to stay healthy for the rest of your life. So have an incredible week, you guys, and we'll see you soon.